Yeah, welcome back. You'll notice that I'm not in the garage today. I'm sitting in my front room, and I'm sitting on the couch trying to edit a little bit of video that I've been recording over the last several weeks, and I realized that this video is going to be a little too long, probably, for somebody to sit through. So what I plan to do is split this into a couple of different videos. First, I'll talk a little bit about how to join the forward and aft fuselage halves. That's what I started working on. And then I realized that I kind of went into a little bit of firewall building and some caveats that had to go into that. So I'll actually make that into a separate video. And then I'll go on from there. But for today, though, I just want to work on editing the video where I join the two halves together and kind of start doing some things to get things to line up properly. Putting the floor pan into place, for example, to get everything to line up there. Drilling holes where they need to go to make sure that everything stays, square the way it's supposed to. So without further ado, that's what I'll work on today. Well, let me give you a quick rundown of what I've done so far. First thing I did is I took that tail cone box and I flipped it upside down. So the turtle deck is now pointing downwards. I've connected these two side panels. I've attached the lower skin here to the tail cone box. And I've started to connect this forward lower skin. And as you can see in the back here, I've also added the aft tunnel web assembly. That's there just to sort of hold some parts together so I don't get any torsional movement. I've got several clecos holding that all into place. I've lined up all these clecos here to hold it where it needs to be. And then eventually I'm going to have to drill these pre-drilled holes here to make sure that my the forward fuselage here is lined up and square with the rear. And that's how you keep this all lined up, is by lining up the side of this lower floor panel here with the side of the fuselage, and that should keep it all perfectly square. I think I've mentioned this before, but these three holes right here, I didn't realize that they were pre-drilled in the forward skin, and I went ahead and marked them off and drilled them in the rear lower skin, and they are slightly off, so these holes don't line up exactly with the holes underneath. That also goes through a splice that goes through right here. It's already riveted into place. It holds my flap connections, or my flap controllers here, as well as holding the forward and aft fuselages together here. And there's a little bump out that comes along right underneath here. And those holes, obviously, since I've already drilled through that, that's the probably the most critical part. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as is. I'm going to use my hole duplicator to drill these holes properly in this forward skin, and then I'm going to make a doubler that covers all of that up and drill all of those holes together, and just make sure that it all fits the way that it should. That won't happen for some time. Just want to make sure that I don't have any components that need to sit right here that I would be drilling through as I make a doubler. So that's going to be pretty much the last thing that I do. I've also got the firewall up here. I took it to our local airport where our EAA chapter is. There's a much larger metal brake than what I have here, so that I can actually put this bend here and here in my firewall. I tried to attach it this morning, and I realized that there are some issues with my build up to this point. When I put my firewall into place and I line it up with these three holes right here, with the holes that are pre-drilled into the firewall, that lines up okay, and down here lines up okay. Unfortunately, this little bent piece of metal right here, it is slightly one direction. I believe that this is actually a little bit too high, actually too low, I guess, because it's upside down, but it's moved a little bit too far that way, and so the holes don't quite line up here. And after trying to drill one of these up to 1/8 inch just to see if there's enough room in there to be able to get a rivet in, you can see that this hole right here has a sort of an oblong shape. I'm not happy with that, so what I'm going to end up doing is just drilling out these rivets right here and making a new one of these. I ordered the part from Metal Supermarkets. It's a local store that we have here where I can just buy the 32 mil 6061 aluminum here. And so I'll cut it into shape, bend it, and drill the holes in the correct spots here without drilling these holes down this front side. And I'll just use the holes in the firewall to actually know where to drill that. Hopefully while keeping this all in the right spot. I've also just attached the rudder pedals here. There is a hole in this little splice down underneath here, just the one in the rear here, so we're able to line this up in the right spot. The one in the forward half of that is not, though. So I've got a bolt holding that from sliding around. So I'll pull this bolt out right here, and I'm going to run the drill down through this hole to make sure it's lined up properly and drill through the bottom of this. Now I've got a little divot in there. I'm going to go ahead and go in with a smaller drill bit to make the pilot hole here, right in the center. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and up drill it up to the full size again. Alright, we have some movement here. Those are drilled in the right spots. I need to go in, obviously, clean up those holes now with the deburring tool. Both of those ones, but yeah, looks like it's going to be fine. It needs obviously some grease and to be tightened up and everything. These aren't staying on for now. I just wanted to get those holes drilled while I had access to get into this location at this point. So I'm going to put my firewall into place here, at least in these two in the corners down here where the engine mounts are. I won't put in these ones obviously because that'll just end up not fitting properly. So just in these corners, just to make sure I have the width of the fuselage correct and to make sure that it's square this direction as well. We'll get that all put together. And then it'll be time to go ahead and start drilling out these pilot holes that are in the floorboard here. Alright, rudder pedals have been removed. I'm just going to leave these in here loosely just to kind of make sure that I have them in the right orientation when I go to actually put this together again later on. Next I'm going to go ahead and put this firewall back in place and move forward from there. Alright, for a little bit of strength and to make sure this is sort of sized out right, I've put this lower cross tie here in place. It's not bolted in, obviously. It needs to be pre-drilled. I'm not going to drill these pilot holes into the upper cross, this is the lower cross tie I should say, until I've pilot drilled the bottom skin here into the side lower longerons here on this forward side panel. I just want to make sure that that is lined up properly before I drill all that. However, this other cross tie right here, this does go on the bottom of this and it is pre-drilled, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this into place the way that it should be set, and yeah, so that'll hold everything together the way it should be. Alright, so this is going to face down, which is up right now because it's upside down, but kind of goes in here just like this. And then clecos go right down here to hold it in place. Alright, just to keep busy here, I'm going to go ahead and drill my holes up through this engine mount it's already pre-drilled underneath into the cross member here. This is already at the right width. I already had this connected with the firewall here, top and bottom, in order to line up the bottom skin here at the right width. So that's all square. Now that that's all squared, basically I just need to line up this angle here with the edge of my bottom skin here, and then drill up. There's 2 holes underneath here I need to drill up through that will eventually have screws in it, sort of like over here on this side. Cross beam that goes across here, I moved it back a little bit so it still holds it up in the back, but I'm not going to be drilling through that. Right now I just want to drill through my firewall here with a 3/32 in the right spot. With those holes in there, I can put that, can slide that beam back into it, and then cleco these 2 on the either ends here, and hold it in place while I drill out the rest of these. One thing I noticed is that there's some holes down here on this cross beam that I need to drill out as well. I'll use a long 3/32 drill bit to get down inside of that. Alright, well that's where I'm going to put this one to rest. I'll come back in the next video and do a little bit more detailed work on that firewall. If you've hung out with me this long and you're not subscribed yet, please consider doing so, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.